Well, what if they're not best friends in this galaxy? What if he doesn't have a mustache in this galaxy?
Ugh.
This changes everything.
Ew.
Ew. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Star Wars Explained Weekly Q&A. I'm Alex.
I'm Molly.
And we're going to be talking about Skeleton Crew, Star Wars Jedi, Lego Rebuild the Galaxy. We took questions about all of those things, but real quick before we get into that, what did we do this past weekend?
We had a really fun wedding to go to.
Yeah.
In which you were the best man.
For the second time this year. Not to brag, but...
Go for it. Go for it. Brag.
If you need a best man, I'm available. I've never been a best man until this year, and then got to do it twice. Was very honored. If people ever watched Explain It to Me back when we did that with like WandaVision, with WandaVision and Loki and all that, our friend Ashton was on because he knows a lot more about Marvel and basically every nerdy thing out there except for Star Wars. That's the one thing I have over him.
Yeah.
But like Tolkien, D&D, every fantasy series ever written, Game of Thrones, like he knows so much stuff. But we were randomly assigned as college roommates 18 years ago, and he's still, he's still just one of my very best friends. And
that's so long ago.
We had a great time at the wedding, and now we got 2 more weddings this year. And I'm psyched for both of them.
Me too.
It's wedding season.
One of them is out in California, which is exciting. That's the one I'm in.
It's also getting into spooky season, or at least it's time enough for you to decorate. And I'm all the way for it. Yeah. I'm happy about this.
I think just about every year after we get over Dragon Con weekend, that's when I'm like, okay, it's ready to be spooky season now. So I've got my Count Dooku spooky sweatshirt on, even though it's not quite cold enough for sweatshirts yet.
Yeah,
and
I like your sweatshirt and short shorts look.
Got all my lights and decorations up downstairs, so the living room is ready for spooky season 100%. I did the great battery purge, which I do it every year because we have a bunch of these little battery-operated candles, and I have to replace the batteries once a year.
And we do have a bunch of Star Wars Halloween decorations at this point. We've got some of those Black Series, like the spooky... Is it a Wookiee or a Shistavenin? I'm not even sure.
It's a Wookiee. It says Halloween Wookiee on it.
Okay.
I wish I had gotten more of those, to be honest.
You got some Funko Pops.
Yeah. We have a little... It's not little, it's huge. It's like a blow-up lawn decoration. It's a Grogu holding a jack-o'-lantern.
It is like 5 times his actual size. That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
it is big.
Huge. We also got to go to an early screening of the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along, which was really great. I didn't have super high expectations for that, but it surprised me how much I liked it.
I thought it was pretty good. The first episode, I understand what they were going for, like kind of easing us from WandaVision into what the series would actually be, and doing kind of a parody of a true crime, or not true crime, but like a true detective style show. And then it became the actual show. And I liked the actual show more when it got a little spookier and more into the witchy stuff.
Yeah, like the first episode is a lot of setup. Honestly, I think
that's why it's 9 episodes. You pointed out it was 9 episodes, and I was like, what? Like, why do they get 8 in Star Wars, or why do they get 9 and Star Wars only gets 8? And I'm like, because they get kind of this bonus episode to transition from Wanda to Agatha. I'll go with that.
Okay.
That's my reasoning.
I honestly thought they would do a little more setup just because WandaVision was so long ago, but I mean, it was fine. I think everyone got the gist of what was going on.
Yeah, it wasn't confusing. I liked the second episode because it was spookier.
Yeah. Like
those witches that were attacking at the end. I liked that vibe a lot.
Yeah, the first episode is a lot of setup. Second one is kind of like, it's like...
It's still set up.
It's still set up, but it's like at the end of the second episode, that's like run titles kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching a movie and the main title doesn't show up until a certain point, the first 2 episodes of Agatha would be right before the main title drops.
Right. Which is why they did the first 2 episodes at once.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those shows are doing that anyway, but that made sense of like, let's get the full introduction out of the way.
And the song was really good. The song that they
Oh,
sing
the
at the
road,
end
the
of,
Witch's Road.
At the end of 2. That's been stuck in my head.
Let's get into some Star Wars talk, and we'll start by saying that we partnered up with Beyond the Gift Shop. They are a shirt company. You've seen us wear some of their shirts before. They're very like minimalist designs. A couple weeks ago, we talked about how we were doing a shirt with them, and it's available today. So we'll put the link to that in the description. It's a design that I like a lot. It's from Biggs Darklighter's helmet. Surprise, surprise. So
It's
on a lot of the Rebel helmets.
a lot of the helmets.
But it's like front and center for Biggs, right in the middle.
Yeah.
So I'm still talking about getting a tattoo, and that'll probably be what it is.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I know you will. Well, nobody asked us about this first topic, but I wanted to talk about Skeleton Crew real quick. Entertainment Weekly did a new article about the show and put out some fun pictures of the pirates, and we got to see Jaleel White, who's been rumored to be in this series for a long time.
Rumored to be, and also we remembered that he straight up just like spoiled that he was in it a couple months ago at a hockey game.
No, this was a year ago almost. Yeah, it was over a year ago because he said it was going to come out last November.
Oh, right.
Yeah, back before it got pushed.
Which is fine.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm just happy to see it's confirmed. There's a picture of him as a 90s kid. This is fun for us.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I saw someone on Twitter say that, like, I don't know who this Steve Urkel guy is, but I guess I'm glad he's in Star Wars. And I was just like,
It reminds me of that New Girl episode where she's hanging out with younger kids and she just like goes, "Did I do that?" Mm-hmm. And they all think it's hilarious and that she thought of it. That's how this is going to be for us.
Yeah.
But there was one quote from Christopher Ford who said, "I want to make a whole new kind of Jedi." And then Filoni responded, "Okay, hold on. A lot of people have thought about this. Let's do this the right way." I kind of wanted to talk about what that means, what we think it means.
Mm-hmm.
If... I assume this is in reference to Jude Law's character. Do we think he's a Jedi? We know supposedly that he can use the Force in the trailer that they showed at Celebration, and it was in the most recent trailer.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards yes, he is a Jedi, or was a Jedi.
So yeah, do you think he's like a Order 66 survivor, or I'm kind of wondering if Christopher Ford is using the word Jedi as a substitute for Force sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it could be a new type of Force user and not necessarily a Jedi.
Right. Jedi is just the word that everybody kind of thinks of first.
Yeah.
But now that you bring that up, I don't think he would have been training at the temple and have survived Order 66, all of that. I think maybe he's just a Force-sensitive dude that realized it and started trying to, like, hone the skills himself.
I'm trying to combine a bunch of different articles together. I think it was the People interview that Jude Law did where he was talking about playing kind of a con man.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was like, maybe he's not a Force user at all, and it's all magnets and trickery, but maybe he's a Force-using con man. Maybe he was a Padawan that survived and escaped and then on the run became a con man instead. I'm open to that, but it is one of those, like, okay, it's another Order 66 survivor,
right?
Which it just seems like that list is growing longer and longer.
Or it could be that his, maybe his former master was an Order 66 survivor, master in very loose terms, and like they met and the former Order 66 survivor recognized his abilities and like tried to train him a little bit, and then something happened and he ended up in this life of being a con man / pirate.
Well, you just jogged my memory a bit from Ahsoka and Balin telling Shin about a generation of Boken Jedi that, I mean, Ezra would be considered one, Jedi that were trained outside of the temple and stuff. So maybe there is an element to that Jude Law's master was a Jedi. He got trained, but is using his powers for something different.
Yeah.
I'm into that. And that just provides that connective link.
Yeah,
It's kind of like the
Boken Jedi term.
Yeah, it's a reference from Ahsoka that we didn't know was going to be a reference. I could see that. But the main topic we were asked about, and the one I'm most excited to talk about, is about the Star Wars Jedi video game franchise. Fallen Order and Survivor are two of my favorite Star Wars stories, especially in this era of Star Wars. And in an investor's call, it was stated that Respawn is hard at work on the third and final chapter of Cal Kestis' story. So Graham Gaskill and patron Jake ask if we're going to see the end of Cal Kestis' story in this third Star Wars Jedi game. I guess it's up in the air and we need to wait and see how his story ends in those games. Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed he survives.
Better be a happy story ending.
Right. It better be a happy story. He and Marin better make it out alive and they better be okay.
The title's gotta be Star Wars Jedi Thriving, because that's the only ending I accept.
I love that. I was going to say Star Wars Jedi Happily Ever After, but I like Thriving.
Thriving.
Just like, it's not even like the first two games. It's just a farming simulator on Tanalorr. Everything is cool.
Farming simulator / my Animal Crossing idea from last week.
All right, it's all coming together.
Let's bring it all together.
Okay, so yeah, Star Wars Jedi Thriver. Is there something there? I don't know. I do think that, obviously, as they state, this will be the last video game starring Cal Kestis. Mm-hmm. But yeah, fingers crossed that he and Marin make it out alive. And Grease, and BD1, everyone deserves a happy ending.
BD1 is going nowhere.
Right. I was distraught when BD-72 was attacked by a Womp Rat in the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot handle anything bad happening to BD-1. I am obviously very hopeful that this will allow Respawn to complete the story they set out to tell, and then we can get Cameron Monaghan in live action maybe at some point.
Maybe.
I would be down for that.
I mean, Cameron Monaghan is Cal, and so the potential, I think, will always be there. Where do you think he would show up, though, for live action? Would it be something new, or?
Again, it just depends on where the final game takes us, but I don't see why he couldn't show up in the Mandoverse. It's full of cameos already.
Sure.
Make his beard a little thicker and maybe put some salt and pepper in it, and there we go.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see it.
Yeah, he's just become maybe my favorite Jedi. I love playing him. I love his story. So
Cameron's a great actor.
Yeah, he's great. Also Marin. I want to include, when I say Cal, I basically mean the whole gang. Mm-hmm. Bring them all in. Yeah, I do think that when you look at the whole of the Star Wars fandom, not everyone is playing these video games, so it's not like there's a huge group clamoring for Cal Kestis, but there certainly wasn't a big group of people clamoring for Cobb Vanth either.
Right.
It's just that, the story worked. They brought him in. It was beautiful. So I'm hopeful that the stars can align here as well.
It would be cool, since we know where Thrawn is heading in live action. Thrawn is headed to Dathomir with the Great Mothers. It'd be cool if Cal and Marin were just maybe hanging out. Maybe they went there to retire. Maybe they're visiting family and friends. I don't know.
I'm just imagining retiring on Dathomir, and that is not retirement vibes.
I don't know.
It's
spooky season all year around there.
I bet Marin would be all about it. I'm picturing me as Cat. This is kind of our dynamic almost.
Yeah.
Where you're I want to watch a very horrible, gory movie, and I'm neat.
Maybe they have a vacation home there.
Sure.
And they just happen to be there when Thrawn shows up, and they're what the heck?
So yeah, sure. I think that there's potential for Marin to drag Cal back to Dathomir.
They can make a joke about it. It'd be funny.
That's an interesting end that they could have, especially now that the Night Sisters are more and more prominent in live action. Outside of Cal, I want to also bring up, do we think that this will be the last Star Wars Jedi game? Because I don't necessarily think it has to be. The Star Wars Jedi title right now refers to Cal, but if they were to just shift gears, be Cal's story is done, and now we're going to do Star Wars Jedi, the High Republic or something, and just go follow a new Jedi for 3 more games. I would love that too.
I'd be super down for that. Correct me if I'm wrong, these have been fairly successful video games.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't follow the gaming industry that much, but I believe Star Wars Jedi Survivor did well. Fallen Order did well enough to get a sequel. So like I couldn't cite you numbers or anything, but
yeah, it'd be cool if they did wrap up Cal and Marin's story in this trilogy and then just took the title Star Wars Jedi and put it in the High Republic. Would be really cool to see some of the High Republic Jedi that we've read about show up in a video game.
Sure.
That would be cool.
It could follow.
We could see the Nameless in a video game. That would be wild.
Yeah. Oh man. Actually, like as a gaming mechanic, that would be really intense. It's kind of reminding me of that game that we played before, Until Dawn, where there's a section that you have to fill out kind of what you're afraid of, and then it will tailor the game towards you.
Yeah.
Then if the Nameless shows up, and it could somehow like put up bugs or snakes or spiders or something on the screen.
Yeah, that would be really cool. And like as far as we know right now in the books, the Nameless are still pretty mysterious, but they almost always have a pretty terrible effect on any force sensitive Jedi nearby. So yeah, as a game mechanic, it would essentially be like you're frozen and experiencing pure fear.
Like it would manifest as a spider or something if you were arachnophobic. And maybe that would be very intense.
Maybe like someone else would have to like pull you out of there.
Huh. That would be interesting. And there was a moment in Jedi Survivor that I was like, are we on Planet X? I was kind of afraid we were going to experience that. But yeah, wherever they would want to go, I'm just saying, I think they've set themselves up for success, being like, Cal's story is 3 games, and then if we want to shift gears and go tell another Jedi's story, we can do 3 more games there or whatever, and I would be totally down for that. I also just want to say, like, the engine itself, I really like the combat, and I like platforming. I know not everyone loves the platforming in those games, but...
To be honest, now that I've played a little bit of Outlaws, I very much prefer the game style of the Star Wars Jedi games. So if they made more of those, that'd be great for me.
It's more fast-paced. I love the lightsaber combat. I'm a big fan of, like, the parry attack system. So they've got a great foundation for video games already, that engine, and I'm like, let's just keep it going.
I talked a lot about this when Survivor was coming out, and you talked about it too. Please let us play as Marin for just one little bit.
Okay, now like we still got ideas. Star Wars Night Sister or something, instead of, it could be the same engine, but yeah, we could
Cal
just
dies and then we play 3 more games as Marin.
Stop that. I don't want that. But like, if they didn't want to do Star Wars Jedi, it could be like, let's follow Star Wars Sith or Star Wars something else to give us some new powers, a different experience.
What if it were about Ventress?
Sure.
Like, what if you could play as Ventress for 3 games and like 3 different times in her life where she is like a Jedi and then becomes a Sith and then she's a bounty hunter and then like from the point of Bad Batch on, we see.
That would be really interesting. Young Ventress training as a Jedi. Ventress as we see her in the Clone Wars as a Sith apprentice or assassin or whatever you want to call her. And then, bounty hunter. And then maybe, she dabbles with a little magic then. That'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
Warmer, sunnier days are here. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your health goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes, so no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals. With our hectic schedule, even making a good lunch is difficult for me. Factor's 2-minute meals let you fuel up fast with restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door. Factor also offers breakfast options like pancakes, smoothies, and more. There's no prep and no mess. Factor meals are ready to heat and eat, so there's no prepping, cooking, or cleanup needed. Get as much or as little as you need by choosing your meals every week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Factor is the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, premium options with no cooking required. Head to factormeals.com/Star Wars 50 and use code Star Wars 50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code Star Wars 50 at factormeals.com/Star Wars 50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Sticking with video games, DDK asks us, what do we think Vess is up to during the time of the sequel trilogy? Jumping way ahead into the future, but
hopefully she's retired and just having a great time. Maybe getting into gardening.
That would also be my hope. You keep bringing up aspects of the Star Wars Jedi games.
Yeah, I forgot about the gardening stuff.
For Kay, her story kind of centers around this idea that she can buy her freedom, basically, and I think she learns over the course of the story that you can't, that this life of a scoundrel and an outlaw, at least the way that there's one person you try to recruit named Haas, and he's supposed to be one of the best weapons experts and well renowned in the scoundrel community, but he's hiding on Tatooine, and she's like, this is where he is. This is where he chose to live. And Indy 5's he didn't choose to live here, he's in hiding.
Yeah.
And so I would hope, I don't think that she's fully learned that lesson at the end of the game, because she's still a scoundrel and outlaw. But I don't want her and Nix to be stuck in this life hiding on Tatooine.
Yeah. Maybe she's found whatever it is she loves doing and she has settled down somewhere, but it's in a place where there's still some rough and tumble stuff going on, and she gets to help the new, whatever the new version of what she used to be is, she can help other young scoundrels.
Yeah. You're reminding me of Hondo a bit, where he started out as kind of a scary pirate, and then he's gotten a lot softer as the years went on, and when we get to the sequel trilogy era, he's got a ship named after Katuni, which is very sweet. But he's got a legitimate business, and he helps the Resistance, but he does it in his own way. I think something like that makes sense for Kay.
Maybe Kay was in the Battle of Exegol.
Maybe.
Along with hundreds of other people.
Yeah, it's possible. She kind of ends her story in the first game similar to Han at the end of Solo, where she's willing to help the rebellion, but she's I'm not ready to fully sign up.
Right. But it's been a long time.
30 years later,
and
I think it's possible.
was wrecked.
That's true.
So
oh, God. I hope she wasn't on Kijimi.
Yeah, she's probably pissed about that.
Moving into some Rebuild the Galaxy questions, Damien Vonderhaar simply asks, what was our favorite joke in the special? Or the series, I guess, mini-series?
Yeah. So I just rewatched these yesterday. There's so many good jokes in
It's
those.
very funny.
The Lego specials that they do are just, it's my kind of humor where it's very silly but family friendly.
It's similar to Robot Chicken, I feel. The Robot Chicken Star Wars specials specifically, obviously a little bit cleaner, but yeah, the way that they lean into not even, I don't want to say making fun of Star Wars. It's making fun with Star Wars. Everyone's in on the joke, and yeah, we're making some jabs, but it's funny.
Yeah, they made Nerf herders a respectable.
It's a noble profession.
But I think my favorite joke of the entire series, it happens fairly early on, and it's when we see Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba, and in the different reality cantina. The
Mos Eisley Marina cantina.
Yeah. And he goes, he likes you. I like you too. I don't know why that cracked me up.
It's great.
It's so sweet.
It's very nice in this galaxy. The dumb one that got me is just Crate changing from salt to pepper. It's so obvious, but the delivery of it just hit me hard, and I
Yeah.
laughed out loud at that. But I think my favorite joke is probably when all the Sith are coming off the ship, and Sig, who is like an in-universe Star Wars fan, so he knows all these characters, and he's like, oh my god, Darth Rose, Darth Nubs, Darth Ray, Darth Hammerhead? Sorry, I forgot your name. Hammerhead goes, aw. Or Mamau Nadon. But, like, that hit me where I live. Like, that's my kind of joke. So,
And he knew Hammerhead, because, like,
Yeah.
isn't that what the original toy was called?
right. It's like calling Ponda Baba Walrus Man. Yeah. So, just layers of jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I also did really like Mark Hamill and his portrayal of Luke, and going through everything that happened back in the real galaxy. He's like, I used the Force so hard that I died. And just hearing Mark Hamill say those words was a lot of fun. Honestly, the whole special is just the fact that they got so many of the original actors or voice actors to come back and play that role.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone sounds like they're having a blast.
Yeah.
Nice Darth Maul was
yeah.
one of the best things.
Yeah. Hearing Sam Witwer do a nice, charming version of Maul was delightful.
Wearing like Lando's outfit, and he still sounded sinister, but was just saying the nicest stuff.
Yeah.
I did like all of those jokes too, of just popping the head off of a character and putting him on, like Han's on Greedo's outfit and Greedo is on Han's. Like, that's such a simple little joke.
As a old school Lego fan, you see something like that and you're like, oh my gosh, like I did that as a kid, or I do that now. You know, you can just put heads on anybody's with Lego.
Why I liked it. I mean, the Clone Trooper Admiral Akbar is just, I just took a stormtrooper and I popped a different head on it. It's such a love letter to playing with Lego and Star Wars. The Lego specials and the Lego movies, not even the Star Wars ones, they all mean a lot to me.
Yeah. One final thought. It's kind of it is a joke, I think. The ship being the little orange piece.
Oh, yeah.
What's that thing called?
Just like the brick separator?
Yeah.
We have like 12 of them over there.
Sometimes they're teal, but most of the time they're orange. And like the big Star Destroyer ship in the shape of that was a nice touch.
Yes, that was great. Jay Rushton asks, do we think Biggs Darklighter is still alive in Rebuild the Galaxy? Well, hold on now. I hadn't even considered that.
Why wasn't he in this?
I know. Luke is still around. Like, Tatooine is still there.
Where was Luke's best friend?
Well, what if they're not best friends in this galaxy? What if he doesn't have a mustache in this galaxy?
Ugh.
This changes everything.
Ew.
I'm going to choose to believe that, yes, if Luke is just chilling on Tatooine, then Biggs is probably not far away. I hope that they are still best friends.
Biggs was kind of like his parents would have been proud of him, right? He went off to school and like joined the rebellion, and he was like doing all the right stuff.
In the main galaxy?
Yeah.
They weren't crazy about it in Legends.
Okay. Well, still, he had that cool cape.
Yes.
I was just thinking, like, maybe he's the town drunk now.
I wouldn't mind it if there were a little bit of flipping of, Luke was wormy and he was kind of the loser, and Biggs was the one that people liked, and he
the jock.
Yeah, but he was still friends with Luke.
Yeah.
If they had swapped that dynamic, that could have been fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all from like deleted scenes, which they did some deep cut jokes, but that may have been too deep to be like, wait, who's this dude with a mustache that's not that cool? Like, I would have loved it.
But if you were friends with Luke and like had a moment in the show, I think people would have gotten that. I don't know. We would have gotten it.
I would have gotten it, and that's enough.
We can't expect them to cater to us.
Well, the end of the series leaves room for more, and maybe Biggs will be back.
Oh yeah, the Lando...
The Landolorian?
Landolorian. he just calls Grogu baby.
Yeah.
So maybe in this universe, his
Baby
actual
Yoda.
name is Baby Yoda.
What if it is Yoda in this universe? And it is Baby Yoda. And did we get Yoda's actual name when he was fighting?
I think
what if that's old Grogu?
Old Grogu.
I'm pretty sure the credits called him Yoda.
Yeah.
For our last question, Marigold Carbon asks, was it ever public knowledge that Palpatine orchestrated both sides of the Clone Wars? I chose this one because I wanted to talk about this book, The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire by Chris Kimshaw. It was a really fun read if you haven't heard about it. It's been out for like a month or month and a half at this point, but it's like an in-universe history book about the rise and fall of the Galactic Empire. It's written by Beaumont Kin from Episode 9. From his point of view, because he was a historian, but this makes it pretty clear that it became public knowledge at some point that Emperor Palpatine was a Sith Lord named Darth Sidious, and yes, he orchestrated both sides of the Clone Wars.
Interesting.
So at least Beaumont knows, and he wrote this book for everyone to read it, but it even sounded like, at least from my opinion, he wasn't writing this as if like, listen up, everyone, here's some wild news. Mm-hmm. It was more of like we all know this, but how did it happen?
Yeah. He has that line of like, what is it? Dark science and cloning.
Secrets only the Sith knew.
Yeah. So he is, I believe, just kind of a historian, or I guess a history nerd in universe.
And he was interested in the Force and the Jedi and the Sith.
Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what just like a normal person in this galaxy finding out that information, like what their reaction was to that.
And yeah, a lot of people didn't even know what a Sith was, like during the time of the Clone Wars. So that probably had to take some extra education for people to be like, okay, so you know the Jedi, right?
Yeah. They probably would have been like, that checks out. I never liked that guy.
But that's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.